is an ongoing mess that continues to haunt me. My sister is recently engaged to her boyfriend of many years. He proposed to her at one of our family barbecues, and I was really happy for them until I saw the ring. My sister had hinted that her and her boyfriend were discussing tying the knot, and we discussed rings at length. I went online and searched for the type of ring she said she was interested in and happened across a very unique and pretty ring on Etsy, but it had a fake middle stone. As soon as I saw the ring, I recognized it. Everyone knows they're supposed to spend at least 3 to 4 months pay on an engagement ring. He has a good paying job, and 4 months wages for him would be at least 8 to 10K at an estimate. I know for a fact that this ring was $450. I waited until the proposal was over and asked the couple for a quiet word, but that had the opposite effect as I was overheard by the entire family. I told my sister I had seen her ring online and it wasn't a real diamond or even expensive. I accused her boyfriend of trying to cheap out of one of the most important gifts of her entire life. She burst into tears and said she gave him a budget of $400. She didn't want a real diamond. She's lost every piece of jewelry she's owned, and she didn't want to be devastated by losing this if she ever does. Thought I was doing my sisterly duty by pointing out the fake ring. Am I the asshole for telling my sister? My future mother-in-law is the absolute worst person I've ever met in my life. I'm 30 years old and my boyfriend is 31 and we've been together for 8 months. He's the sweetest and most caring man I've ever met in my life, but the biggest surprise is when I met his mother. I'm a natural redhead, so when we sat down for dinner, she asked me if my parents had the same color hair. And then she proceeds to ask me, does the carpet match the drapes? I looked over to my boyfriend who seemed equally as shocked, but he didn't say anything. And when I didn't respond back, she said, don't worry, I'll ask my son about it later. She then went on to attack my appearance and said my hair was too curly and I really needed to learn how to run a brush through my hair and think about my appearance more when I'm out with her son. And when I lost my appetite, she told me it was a good thing that I'm watching what I eat because it would be a shame if I got any bigger. This was my first meeting with this woman, and as soon as I got into my car, I burst into tears until I got home. I told my boyfriend I needed some time. He went into apology overload, and this started by sending me flowers to my office every day and leaving me messages. He said he spoke with his mom and promised this would never happen again. With this reassurance, I decided to give it another chance.
A while back, one of my employees had this one client. It was her first time coming to our salon. As soon as she left, she went over to my Instagram, commented under a picture complaining. She said, I just went to your salon today and I'm going to tell you that I am not a happy customer because your salon smelled like food. It's not appropriate that your employee ate before she waxed me. When I go into a salon, I expect for it to not smell like food. I had to read that again because I was shocked. I responded nicely and said, hello, my salon is very small. My employees have to eat, and I am sorry that you had to smell what she ate that day. And she commented back how I was very unprofessional for not even offering a discount. I immediately took her off my system because people like her are not welcome here.
When I was 15, I was head over heels for this boy. We were together for almost a year, but most people didn't know behind closed doors, he was very abusive. I was already dealing with my own problems at home, and with this abuse, everything just piled up. And then one day I found out I was pregnant, and I wanted to keep the baby. Keep in mind I was 15 and had mental issues going on as well. But then when my parents found out, they were furious with me and my boyfriend. One day when I was looking for something, I saw my mom's computer about me being transferred. I didn't think much of it, and I just brushed it off. After a really good day at school, I came home to 2 strangers telling me to pack up and we had to leave. I was extremely terrified, and they grabbed me, and my parents were nowhere in sight. A few plane rides later, we were in North Carolina for a wilderness program. I cried for days, not knowing how to deal with the pain of being alone and pregnant. When the snow started coming in, I eventually got hypothermia. focused on my career, and since I am single, I wasn't sure if having a baby would ever happen. So when I found out I was pregnant, I was overjoyed. My brother is married but has made it very clear that he will be child-free. I got a shirt for my nephew to wear that says, "This is what an awesome big cousin looks like." I wanted him to wear it during our family dinner. My sister was the first one to notice the shirt, and everyone immediately began to assume it was my sister-in-law who was pregnant. I wasn't hurt at them assuming this because she is married. I was hurt because my sister-in-law didn't try to correct them. She just went along with it and began to rub her flat belly while laughing. I tried to explain, but they all didn't hear me and just continued to fawn over my sister-in-law. I got up and went home. I received multiple texts saying I'm an asshole for making this all about me and I'm just bitter. This morning, my sister-in-law must have finally let it slip that she is not pregnant. They have all now called me to apologize, saying that they all just got caught up in the moment. My sister-in-law sent me a message that said the way I chose to announce was how she wanted to do it if she ever got pregnant. She said that since she is not ever having a child, she wanted to experience what the moment would be like. To me, there's no fixing this. I will eventually forgive them, but I don't want to do a second announcement so they feel better. Am I the asshole? I had a girlfriend in college who got pregnant at 19 and I was 20. I freaked out and wrongly blamed her for everything and said there was no way I wanted to be a dad. I signed over all my rights and I haven't seen her since. I'm now 30, but I had an accident a few years ago that has made it impossible for me to father any children. This was a hard blow to my wife, and our marriage has struggled as I'm not willing to adopt, but she wants children. So I contacted my ex about seeing them, and maybe my wife would be happy in a stepmom role. My ex said no, and when I protested, she basically told me tough luck. I said he was my kid, but she actually said he's not. I signed my rights away, so I have no children as far as the law is concerned. She says my kid has a real dad and a life, and I've never been a part of it and never will be. I was so angry and I started yelling about taking her to court for custody, and she laughed at me and said good luck. I was venting to my brother and he just laughed at me and said no judge would give me custody or regular visitation after a decade of no contact just because I suddenly found myself sterile and wanted to appease my wife. He also said I'm not treating him like an actual person, and did I even once stop to consider the fact that he wouldn't even know who I was? I shouldn't have threatened to go for custody, and I admit that. People are acting like I've done the worst thing ever by contacting my ex.
David.
My boyfriend and I went to his sister's wedding last Friday. They've always had a strained relationship, but overall it was a great wedding. We were enjoying the party when my boyfriend goes up to the DJ and asks for the microphone. I thought he was going to do a toast for his sister, but no. He asked me to come up to him and I was terrified. I remember thinking to myself, he is not going to do that. No way. I take a quick glance at the bride and she is furious. He then proceeds to propose to me at his sister's wedding. Everyone was cheering for us, but his sister just looked like she wanted to cry. I didn't know what else to do other than say yes. I was crying, but not happy crying. After that, I went up to his sister and was apologizing over and over. She was livid. I felt so sorry for her. I left early and my boyfriend came back to the hotel room at 2 a.m. hammered. And so I decided to confront him. At first he was like, "Babe, my whole family was there and it was the best time." Until he finally admitted that he did it because his sister had ruined his graduation by announcing her wedding. He used my proposal to get back at his sister. I left the morning after and haven't talked to him since. I don't know what to do. He won't stop calling, but I'm overwhelmed with emotions.
We don't change the wax. We pretty much use it all. If we ever have any leftover wax, let's say I only saw 8 or 12 clients that day, more than likely I will have some leftover wax. I simply turn off the wax warmer, add more pebbles, and turn it on the next morning. We never double dip. Once the stick makes contact with the skin, we then toss it out and grab a new stick to apply more wax. How often we clean our wax warmers varies. There's no set time, but we clean them very often.